most listened to show on the internet. Welcome to AEG. I'm your host, JB, and this week I have Dalton with me.
What's up?
What's up? And I have Marlon.
Hey guys, what's up?
And rejoining us after a long hiatus, after Goose fired him and then rehired him and then fired him again, is Colt.
Let's go.
Okay, you're fired. I'm sorry. You got to go now.
This guy is worse. You guys are worse than Vince McMahon. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we can't afford to fire him right now. We don't have a fourth.
Yeah,
so
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Right.
It's like whenever we need somebody, we're in a pinch. All right, well, better get Colt in here.
Yeah, that's what he's for. He's our backup.
Right, exactly.
I'll take it. Well, you guys keep cutting those royalty checks.
There you go.
You know. After a small hiatus, we finally, I feel, have gathered a good amount. There's actually been a lot of gaming news happen in the last few weeks. It's been pretty hectic, honestly. Yeah. But we have some cool topics that we want to kind of talk to you about and, you know, see where we go from here. The first one, so Microsoft, I think he's the head of like tech. His name's Matt Booty, which lovely name. He said that for the first year or two, it's kind of unspecified how long he said it was going to be, but he said that Xbox games are not going to be exclusive to the Xbox Series X, even once that comes out. Basically, what he's saying is that if you buy an exclusive game, first-party title, even if you don't have the new system yet, you'll still be able to play that game on the PC, on the Xbox One. So you'll still have the ability to have all the access to these titles and not have to be forced to rather upgrade to the new hardware. So what do you guys think about this? I personally think it's awesome.
Microsoft just continues to not lock people behind a box. You know what I mean? They're keeping their shit on multiple platforms and multiple of their own platforms to boot. So that's pretty cool. I mean, this isn't an uncommon thing either. We've seen it in past generations. Trick. Yeah, we've seen it in past generations where, you know, for the first like year or two of a console's life, the games release on both the previous gen and the current gen. So this isn't really anything new. I don't know why they made an announcement. Maybe because of the backwards compatibility thing is why they decided to like make a separate announcement.
I think that has a little bit more to do with it because, you know, the way Microsoft has been talking about the Xbox brand is that, you know, Xbox is Xbox. Like you're going to be able to play all of these generations of stuff. Everything's going to work forward. And from what they've said when they had talked about the Series X for the first time, it's going to work backward too. Like the Series X controller will work on an Xbox One, and you know, obviously like the Xbox One, like the Elite controller, all that stuff will work on the Series X. So they're doing a good job of just keeping it as an entire family of things, and you kind of pick where you want to entry from. If you want to wait a little while to play the new Halo and not, you know, have to buy the new console, you certainly can, and then you can. You know, just play it on your Xbox One, and then eventually, once you get an Xbox Series X, can play that version on that console. So it's pretty nifty, I think.
It's essentially, even to specify more, it's the old Zelda trick.
Yeah.
Nintendo puts out a new Zelda game with a new console to push sales for the new console because it looks better and you can get more features into the new console.
Right.
But they don't leave anybody out by still releasing it on the past generation.
Exactly.
Right, like what they did with...
It's not really surprising that they would push this model.
Exactly.
I mean, it's proven to work.
Right.
That's why I was kind of surprised that it was even an announcement, because like this isn't anything new, not to us.
And no,
same thing with like
for
controllers
the gamers
and everything too. It's like the controllers have changed on Xbox and since the 360.
Right. Yeah, they're basically the same. I guess now the Series X controller is going to have a share button.
Yeah, they're taking a page out of Sony's playbook.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Which I think that's a great idea. I think that's a good addition to have on anything, because I mean the integration with being able to literally the press of a button and share your stuff. Like they've gotten it down a little bit better on the Xbox with being able to, you know, just hit the guide button and then hit I think it's like Y or something like that to capture a screenshot or capture a video, stuff like that. So I mean,
I've been getting annoyed with that lately, doing this stuff for Twitter. It's like, I don't know if I can change my settings, but I do have to hit the center Xbox button and then like scroll over a couple pages and then scroll down to like capture screenshot or capture last 15 seconds.
Yeah, I think there are settings.
Right.
I think there are settings in the back end of the Xbox One to change that stuff, I believe, because I believe I changed it at one point or another. So
yeah,
I need to explore that.
Same thing with the PS4. There's if you go to the settings, you can change how your share button works. So instead of recording the past 15 minutes, you can make it now to like 15, 30, I think up to an hour now.
Yeah. I think
the PlayStation has always kind of worked better too. Like
when it comes to that type of stuff, when it comes to actual like streaming and stuff for that, Xbox is much better than PS4. Just because
I don't believe that though, because the Xbox still doesn't have YouTube support, does it?
I don't believe so. But
no, I see what Marlon's saying though with the whole Mixer integration.
Yeah, with Mixer being integrated. Yeah, like I definitely
Mixer part's sweet.
Obviously the best integration is PC because you can literally stream directly to anything that you want to, any of the three like major streaming platforms, Mixer, Twitch, YouTube,
But let me ask you this. Even with all the BS that YouTube has happened over the past couple of years, do you really want to stream on YouTube? Like, let's be honest.
Well, I don't know, because Twitch has had their fair share of problems too, so yeah. We don't. I know what you're saying, Marlon.
That's a whole different topic
for another time.
Yeah. No, I know, but I was just like going along with what Marlon was saying. I agree with him, but
I like YouTube. I'll take that side of I watch YouTube live more than I watch Twitch.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was at too. We have I posted a tweet on our Twitter the other day for those listening, and we're closing in on 150 YouTube subscribers, which is excellent. It's awesome. And the crazy thing is we don't use our YouTube. We post the show to our YouTube, and that's really about all we do. So to have 150 subscribers and that's it. And imagine if we could start posting videos or streaming straight to YouTube, we might be able to build an actual following there. It seems to be a little bit easier on YouTube than Twitch. And I'm thinking like when we do start doing AEG live again, because we will be doing a couple of episodes of that this year. Yep. When we do that,
I posted the season of The Grind up there too. After every episode, I would export it to YouTube from Mixer.
Right. You eventually started streaming to Twitch, didn't you?
No, I haven't done that yet. I was considering doing that with the next season.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we're like when I do AEG live, or when I stream in general, I'll be streaming to YouTube from now on. I think as soon as this Gran Turismo series is over, I'll switch it over to YouTube. I'm going to finish out the series on Twitch though, because that's where it started. But after that, I think I'll switch to YouTube. But I do agree with what Marlon is saying though on the whole thing. But I don't know. I just feel like we have a little bit bigger following on our YouTube than we do on our Twitch for whatever reason. And plus the show's there too. The show's there. So it just adds another level to it. And while we don't get a ton of listeners on our show on our YouTube, it's not like the primary spot that people listen. We do get like 10 to 12 views per show, 15, 20 sometimes, but that's still a pretty decent little listener base that we got going on YouTube. So,
right, absolutely. But kind of switching back to the topic at hand, the Xbox stuff, I do agree with you, Dalton. I mean, it's not major news, but I think a lot of people, expected with these since it sounds like these new consoles are going to take a very large leap forward.
Yes, they will. They're going to be comparable to most like mid-range PCs, which is going to be excellent. It's going to be awesome.
And so I think a lot of people thought, well, shit, I'm going to have to upgrade to play all these new games, like the new Halo, like Cyberpunk, like all these bigger titles. Granted, Cyberpunk's supposed to be on, current gen platforms, but we'll get to that in a minute. But a lot of people thought they were going to have to upgrade. So I think the news here is that, Xbox is still sticking with their brand regardless of what entry point you have. So
yeah, and I love what Microsoft's doing. In terms of consoles, I prefer the PlayStation. It's just, I don't know, it's where I feel at home when I am playing on a console. No disrespect to those that prefer their Xbox or their Switch or
how dare you,
whatever brick you happen to be playing on. But I gotta say, I love what Microsoft's doing, and I hope Sony follows suit. And it seems like they have. That's a topic for a little bit later in the show. But yeah, that's really all I want to say about the Xbox. I don't think this is much news, but I feel like maybe Xbox thought it was important enough that they needed to mention it. So good on you, Microsoft. Continue doing it.
People to,
yeah.
All right. So my issue with the Xbox not being exclusive is kind of like back and forth, like you guys were talking about. In the one hand, you do have the ability of being able to play the video games that you want to play, and it has a backward compatibility, and you're able to feel like you're not basically strapped down or basically chained to this whole thing.
You have to shell out cash to play games.
Forced to buy a new box.
But on the other hand, for me, it's gonna give more fuel to Sony because it's gonna basically go like what happened a couple of years back, where it's like, hey, listen, we have the exclusives, we have this good stuff that's coming for this generation, and it might play into the whole sales figures later on during the year, but it bounds to be seen, given if the PS5 is as powerful as the Xbox, and even then, if the PS5 is going to have enough features that people who do streaming, who do video gaming, who do all the stuff, because the video game market has changed immensely since the PS4 and PS4 and Xbox came out. Most consoles were used for playing video games. Nowadays, most consoles are being used for what? For streaming, for making videos online and doing all that stuff. And as we're getting closer to what the PCs have been doing for the past 10 plus years, it just remains to be seen if the lineup that Microsoft has, when they do have the exclusives, is going to be enough that allows them to overtake Sony in the long run. I don't know. I'm just basically drawing straws by this point, but I feel like it might give an advantage to Sony, given the fact that they might pull some stunt like that. Say, hey, listen, we have the exclusives. They don't.
Yeah, like you have to upgrade. You know.
That's one point. So it just, for me, I don't know. In one hand, like I said, and this obviously harkens back to what we've been having something with the delays, which we'll get into later on in the podcast, which is, do you want to fracture your fan base by basically saying, hey, listen, the game that you really wanted to play, you can either play it on the all console or just wait for the new one and play it there. That, for me, is what's going to make it or break it when it comes to the Xbox and for the PS5. But we'll probably get more into that later on. Just wanted to say that.
Yep. Actually, we could go right to that topic next, since we're here. Well, what you're saying, Marlon, I'm following you, but at the same time, at Microsoft, obviously they've made it clear that they don't care about selling a box, right? They're more interested in getting their software. Yeah, they want to get their software everywhere. We've even heard talk of Xbox titles coming to the Nintendo Switch. And
they have Ori and the Blind Forest, Cuphead.
Oh, see, I'm already behind. See, I didn't even know
that was exclusive. I mean, they're indie titles, but they're fairly big name indie titles. But it's stuff that was exclusive to Microsoft. It's a Microsoft Game Studios game. You can go out right now and buy it on your Nintendo Switch and play it. So
right, but the thing with that is since we're going into our next topic, we're going to talk about Sony bringing their games to PC like that. There's a lot of rumors.
There's a lot of credible rumors.
Yeah, and we're hearing
Jason
that
Schreier.
Yeah, so he usually doesn't make shit up. So
not generally. But
yeah, so PlayStation games coming to PC could be huge, and imagine if Sony follows suit. We talked about it in the Discord the other day. Sony makes more money off of software sales than they do hardware sales, right? especially with these new consoles, when they come out, they're going to be selling at a loss. So Sony, actually, Microsoft has the upper hand in this area because Microsoft's a much bigger company than Sony. They got a lot more money coming from a lot more different avenues. So they can afford to make a move like this, but it's crazy seeing Sony do this because they don't, like I said, they don't rely on the box sales, they rely on the software sales.
Right.
And the PlayStation Plus subscriptions. That's the one thing that's got me concerned with this is where will Sony take a hit on PlayStation Plus subscriptions, or will they have an idea to have that figured out? Like,
you mean if they do port their exclusives to PC?
Yeah.
What my question is, why would they be concerned with their PlayStation Plus subscriptions? Like, you feel like a lot of their subscribers would go down because they were playing on PS4 because of exclusives, and now if they have access to those on PC, their subscriber base would go down. Is that basically what you're?
Yeah, I'm wondering if they've got a plan in place for that. Because
I would assume that they would if this is something they're interested in doing.
Yeah. So,
but.
All right. So I understand where you're coming from, given the fact that when it comes to software development, Microsoft, it is a bigger company than Sony, at least in that front. The problem that I have is that even though Microsoft is a bigger company when it comes to software development, Sony is a bigger company when it comes to just overall in the business department, because you have so many factions from Sony that don't really play well together. And when you have the entire company of Sony, which is, makes TVs, makes, movies, makes music, stuff like that, you have all that fragmented, it's not the same ballpark. Like the PlayStation branch of Sony, they're by themselves, and even though they are the ones bringing most of the money to the company, that section is smaller than Microsoft's when it comes to that particular area. I just wanted to say that because we're going to have some asshole coming up to us saying, listen, Sony is bigger than Microsoft. I'm like, yes, we understand that, but the problem is that Sony, it is a bigger company because it has different factions. You have professional audio and video equipment, you have semiconductors, you have computer hardware, you have financial services, you have film, television, music, and game software, but they're all not interconnected. Microsoft can do that because most of it is software. So if they're developing something good when it comes to their AI and when it comes to that their infrastructure, that can be used with the Xbox.
Look at Cortana.
Exactly.
Eventually, initially Cortana was on one thing, and then eventually it's been ported to all of their stuff.
So that Microsoft has the advantage in that, because they're able to basically, hey, listen, what is that department is doing? Well, I like what they're doing. How can we implement that with the Xbox? And they can do that like that. Sony doesn't have that, and yet time after time we keep seeing Sony pull ahead on the sales because they keep just bringing what the games want. And I feel like Microsoft is finally catching up to them and realizing, hey, listen, what we really need to do is bring all of our games to as many people as possible, regardless of the console, regardless if we can bring it to the Nintendo Switch, if we can bring it to PC, that gives us a better leverage than what Sony's been doing, which was just basically doing it just on the PlayStation. Sony finally realized that they needed to get out of their fucking hole. So when I heard the news that they're bringing games to PCs like Horizon Zero Dawn, I thought, wow, it took them how many fucking years to finally move ahead with this move? What, 12, 15 years? And for me, this time with the Xbox Series X and the PS5, I feel like we're finally gonna be the ones getting some decent games and decent options and choices for us.
That's not just that. Thank you for saying that. Not just that we're gonna get some decent games. It's you can play where you feel like, and you're not gonna be. I mean, yes, there are certain things you're gonna be closed off from. Like, clearly, if you're a
trophies and stuff like that,
if there's certain things that you like achievements or trophies or other stuff like that. You kind of will gravitate, or honestly, friends lists is a big thing, but we're starting to see crossplay in a lot of games. So I mean, it's almost to the point where being a loyalist, so to speak, of a certain platform holder is almost becoming non-existent, because you can pretty much do whatever you feel like. Whatever is most comfortable with you. There's still stuff that people can play together and still have fun with.
Right. So shut the fuck up, fanboys.
Yeah,
more or less.
I think that's the main point. I think these companies have gotten sick of this entire fan base just basically ruining and making video games, like, the review is bad because they're not being able to play it. Like, I remember when Horizon Zero Dawn came out, and people were saying, "Oh man, this game is so great, but I can only play with the PlayStation. I wish I could play with the Xbox. I wish I could play it on PC." And the Sony fanboys, they weren't just saying, "Hey, man, I really wish you could play it too." No, they're like, "Haha, we were the ones playing it. Suck you, man." Like, I don't understand this entire freaking mentality of, like, it's us versus them. No. First of all, you're just a gamer. You're just playing a video game. You're not part of the company. You don't have shares in the company. You have nothing to do with Sony. Why are you defending them with shield and sword as if it was your freaking father or your part of your family?
Like, this company gives a shit about you.
Right. The way I look at it, it's a good game. Who gives a shit where you're playing it on? If you're enjoying yourself, don't patronize other people for not being able to play it. Like, maybe
there's only money to be made for these companies too. Like, Sony's only going to make money off of these software sales on PC, because they're still going to sell to their base on PlayStation. But then they're also going to sell to these people on PC now. That I know a lot of people personally that are like, "Man, I wish I could play that game, but I don't have a PlayStation." Like, they just have a PC, and for good reason. Like, if you have a powerful PC, you don't really have a lot of need to have a console, especially.
I mean, if you're a PC gamer, you can play 95%, especially with how Microsoft's been doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not 95, but 90%. Pretty much the only things you won't have access to is Nintendo exclusives and Sony exclusives. Everything else,
we'll wait and see what Nintendo does now. See if they they won't. They're a bunch of cocksuckers, and they're the topic. They're our next topic. That's for sure. We're gonna I'm gonna blast Nintendo here. So.
All right. Well,
I
real
have
quick,
one that's gonna be really interesting though. That is kind of, sort of low key. Is MLB The Show finally not being a PlayStation exclusive?
Yes. Yeah, I forgot about that.
That was made by Sony, but has the possibility to come to both Switch and Xbox moving forward, which I know I'm sure you're happy about that, Danny.
Beyond thrilled, because that was the only reason I bought my PS4 to begin with, was The Show. And then when I got the Halo trailer and I traded it in for an Xbox, and then I wanted to play The Show again, and I was just super pissed at myself.
Right.
For me,
but like a lot of my friends only have PlayStations because The Show is on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, I had multiple people text me that day, and they're like, "I think I'm gonna buy an Xbox again because I can play the fucking Show again."
There you go.
Yeah. So that's cool. It's only good for everybody.
I'll tell you something that for me, when it comes to, like, bringing these franchises that originally were just one console only to PC, is the ability that people are going to be able to mod them and add features that the developers either don't want to, or are too lazy to do it, or just don't feel compelled to even try it. So if anybody has played Monster Hunter World in the console, it is a completely different beast on PC. The amount of mods,
no load times.
the amount of mods and no load times that game has on PC, it is amazing. The community has, it's like Skyrim all over again. Where when that came for PC, people just made so many good shit on that game that even the developers were like, "Holy crap, these guys actually know what they're doing." And
dude, I'm telling you, when I get on my PC and then I go back to my PlayStation and play something and watch these loading screens,
yeah, it feels horrible. Right?
It's fucking awful.
Well, that should change when the new consoles come out.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna. Gonna help.
So the thing for me is, if you have a powerful PC, like you were saying, Jeff, you're not compelled to get yourself a PlayStation 4 and Xbox because you're basically downgrading. In
a way, yes.
You're downgrading to play a specific game that you normally wouldn't be able to play it, which is fine, but you don't feel like you're being how can I say this? It's like if I was driving a, Bugatti Veyron, okay? And then Dalton said, "Hey, listen, man, get off on the Bugatti. We're gonna drive on my Skyline, and we're gonna just walk across this whole." Wait, nah, man. Like, I'm sorry. Skyline is nice and all, but I want to drive my Bugatti. It's the same thing with the PC and Xbox and PS5. Even then, I have a PS4 original console. Okay, the load times on that shit are horrendous. Okay,
I'm surprised that thing hasn't taken off and flown away by now.
Yeah, it is horrendous, and even though it's fine, and I'm okay with it because I never decided to upgrade or mid-upgrade. You can hear it, you can see the load times, especially on Odyssey. I saw my friend playing Odyssey on the PC, and let me tell you, that thing ran smooth as butter.
Yeah.
That did not run like that on my game, on my PlayStation 4.
Next-gen consoles are supposedly going to have better processors and SSDs in them, so that'll help a ton.
But the thing for me, the original thing that I was saying without getting into this rant, is the entire area of the fan base. I don't understand this. I understand that we're going to be getting great and more powerful consoles. I don't understand when Sony did the unveiling of their freaking logo and everybody lost their fucking shit. I don't understand it. They just showed a logo. It was the same thing that happened in E3 a couple of years back when Nintendo showed Metroid 4, and that's it.
Which still hasn't come out, by the way.
Not even just that. Like, they showed off this logo, and it's literally the same logo as the PS4.
I love it.
I just
want to know. I want everyone to know I love it. I feared change. Keep it all the same, Sony.
Oh my
God.
God.
For me, what I really would have loved to see is the logo of the PS5, but have the original PlayStation logo with the rainbow scheme next to it. For me, that would have been kick-ass. I very minimalistic, very simplistic. That I would have preferred. Instead, no, what we get is just PS4. Instead of being PS4, we get PS5. And they're gonna have to change their logo, man. You can't just go PS6, PS7, PS8, PS9.
You're damn right they can. Yes, no, they absolutely can.
They should not.
Sony, if you're listening, which we know you are, keep it the same. Don't change it. Stay the same, Sony.
God.
Pretty soon you're gonna be the only console left, so you got to be there for us.
Well, it's gonna be the PlayStation X, Nintendo Switch Series 65. Nah, brother, nah, that's.
No.
I digress.
Yes. After we now that we're done calling out fanboys for being pussies, we can finally move on. Yeah, we can move on to Nintendo's Direct. Jeff, why don't you lead the way on this one, man?
Lead us to the promised land.
All right.
To say.
So Nintendo did a Direct. They announced ahead of time it was going to be very Pokemon centric. It was going to be up to 20 minutes long, which wasn't going to be just a quick one and done type of thing. So at this Direct, they kind of started off slow. They announced that they are doing a remake of the 2006 DS title, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team.
It looks like a dirty orange, but I digress.
It looks the art style is very different. It's almost like a hand drawn art style,
like it's hand drawn with pastels.
Yes, pastel. Thank you, Marlon. Appreciate that. So they did a weird art style, and they put out a demo of it. If you have a Switch, you can go download that demo right now. And your progress carries over to the final game, which the final game actually comes out here in it's like a month and a half. It's like the first week of March, I believe. So they started off with that. So it was like, okay, I like what they're doing. All right, something a little different. It's not everybody was expecting they're going to do a remake of Gold and Silver or something along those lines, kind of how they did with the Let's Go series for Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu.
For Gen 1.
So the Gen 1 stuff. They were going to do another.
They're expecting a Let's Go 2 with Gold and Silver or something.
Which that would have been awesome. I would have been 100% all right with that.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of people that didn't like those Let's Go games, but I fucking absolutely loved them.
I had a blast, but that was because it was pure nostalgia, but I still had a blast.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So instead, Nintendo announces that they are doing a $30 expansion pass to Pokemon Sword and Shield. 2 major expansions, one coming in June, one coming fall. New areas, new gym leaders. What else? New Pokemon. New Pokemon, or
old
rather,
Pokemon.
bringing back
don't even
up
get me
to
started.
200 old Pokemon.
They partnered with Square Enix to bring in Chocobos. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Electric Chocobos look pretty awesome. And that reference is that the fact that they're doing Galarian versions of the 3 legendary birds, and Zapdos now looks like a Chocobo.
Hold on. The arrogance. I just want to say the arrogance, the absolute blatant disregard for consumers by Nintendo here. I just want to call them out on it. I mean, these fucking Nintendo sheep, they're going to buy it. Like, they're going to line up at the fucking gates to buy this. But I just wanted to call out Nintendo right there because they're assholes. They're just assholes.
Let me tell you something.
All right. Have fun, guys. Go for it.
Okay. All right. I am sorry to cut you off, Jeff. And
no.
I'm just going to say this. Okay. The sheer amount of bullshit that we as Pokemon fans have had to deal with for the past, I want to say, 2 years with this fucking game is this. I have no issues with the season pass. I have no issues with DLC. I have issues with the way that they did the entire thing from the get-go. Number one, you essentially cut the Pokemon that we are able to catch in these games by 60%. Okay, there's almost around 1,000 Pokemon that you can catch, and while not all 1,000 of them are good enough to be played on a competitive team, hundreds of them are. Now, you, Game Freak, decide that we're gonna just cut down the game of amount of Pokemon from 1,100 or something like that to 400 Pokemon. I was okay with that. Annoyed, pissed off, but I'm like, you know what? If they promise us that better animations, better quality of games, and the Pokemon that we're gonna get in Sword and Shield are gonna be great Pokemon, I am okay with that. But what do we get? We get pissed about it. We tell them, hey, listen, is there a way for us to at least bring our old stuff back? And what did they say? We can do that. It is very difficult. The animations that we have in this game has not given us enough time to be able to implement all of the animations and coding that goes into making all this stuff. And we have to make what was the thing that they said? They had to remake the polygons. What do you call it?
The models. They had
the models of the Pokemon from scratch because they could not get the original files from the Sun and Moon from them. I'm like, okay, BS on that, but I was like, okay, I'll bite. And then you can tell that this was meditated. They knew from the start that this was going to be like that. Why? Because when the DLC came out, hey, listen, we took away all the Pokemon that you like them, we're going to bring them back to you, but we're going to put them behind a paywall to be able for you, not even behind a paywall, it's just, hey, listen, in order for you to be able to get this Pokemon into your games, you have to at least pay us for the Pokemon Bank, and you have to pay us for the DLC to be able to at least enjoy some of these features that should have been on the game from the beginning.
Yeah, and well, Marlon is 100% right here, and I completely agree with Marlon because he's onto something for sure. Like, I think Marlon and I are definitely on the same page here when it comes to this. I want to reiterate what Marlon said. Like, we are not anti-DLC here. Like, we are very pro DLC. If you've heard our show over the last 2 years, you know that we do not hate DLC by any means.
We don't hate the idea of like a season pass.
Yeah, we know how much time and money goes into creating these games that if the developers want to get a little bit more money out of us, we're actually okay with it. But the way Nintendo did it was so shady and arrogant.
Shady as fuck.
Just think about, like, I brought this up in the Discord, and I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys might have saw it. I don't know. I was on a pretty big
probably
so
did.
You guys might have checked out, but
no, I listen to your rants, Dalton. I
I said that especially with Nintendo Game Freak, they've been scamming us with these Pokemon games for years by releasing multiple versions of the same game. Mm-hmm. And we were all okay with that. None of us bitched about it, right? I don't think I've ever heard anyone ever bitch about 2 different versions of a Pokemon game coming out.
Shit, how many times have I bought,
both versions?
Both versions, and then the third version that's like a complete tale of all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is Nintendo knows, like, even if they released one version of each game, they're going to sell to just as many people. But then there's those, like, few people here and there that are going to buy both versions, and they're going to get that extra fucking money. It doesn't cost them much more, if anything at all, to release a second version, right? They just got to do things a little bit different, cut some shit out of the one and put, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a big fucking leap. So maybe it costs them a little bit of money, but they're making that tenfold by the time they release a second copy and scam some people into buying both because they want every fucking thing you can get. Yeah. And now they have the fucking balls to release an expansion pass for $30, which comes with both episodes, right? So I want to state that I am aware that if you have Pokemon Sword and you buy the expansion pass, you get both DLCs. Like, it comes with whatever the hell they're called, the Isle of something and
the Isle of Armor and the Tundra
bullshit.
And the Tundra of the Queen of the
yes, you get both of them on your Pokemon Sword if you buy it. But if you want the DLC on both games, you have to buy it separately for both games. So I want to just make a point that I know that because I posted on Twitter and someone's like, well, actually, I'm like, well, I know that. So
yeah, it's the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. That's the DLCs.
It's just the way they've been scamming us for years and us not bitching about it, and just all the shitty practices of Nintendo, and their games never going down in price. Just those little things just add up, and then they're gonna pull a stunt like this and.
Yeah, I feel like you'd really hit your breaking point, Dalton.
Yeah, exactly.
With this specifically.
Yeah,
I'll give you the thing for me.
Over the edge a little bit.
The thing for me though is this: if you would have just said, "Hey, listen, we're not gonna make the 2 versions of the game. We're just gonna say Pokemon. I don't want to say Pokemon Sword and Shield. Okay, and that is the name of the game, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it's just one game. Okay, and if Nintendo would have said, or at least Game Freak would have said, hey, listen, this game is going to have DLC. It's not going to have all 1,100 Pokemon in the game originally. They're going to be added in expansions. I would have been okay with that. Because we would have been honest about it. Like, hey, okay, this is what they're doing. Fine. I'm okay with that because this is a game that is on a Nintendo Switch. It is not on a game on a handheld. It is on Nintendo's main console for this generation. Right. I would have been okay with that because... Hey, it has happened with us with Bungie and Destiny. It has happened with us with Odyssey. It has happened with us with all these new games that have roadmaps and have DLCs and have season passes. Hey, we've been doing.
They announce that stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I would have been okay with that.
And they don't. They're not deceitful.
Yeah, like look at Capcom with Monster Hunter. They give you many months in advance what's going to happen. Hey, listen, we're going to have a season expansion, but the season expansion is going to have this and this and this, and this is all going to be for free. This you have to pay, but this is going to be for free. But you know what you're getting into. With this one, we basically Nintendo made us seem like we were just kids that didn't know what we wanted and didn't know. Like it was like the amount of disrespect that this company just gave us by lying and saying, oh, no, we just can't do it because it's just time constraints, or we can't do it because it's just not within our budget. And then literally like 2 months later, you pull something like this. That means that you knew from the start that this is what you were trying to do, and you just come across as being, freaking greedy and money hungry. And for me, that's my biggest pet peeve about this whole situation. It's not...
I think... Okay.
Yeah.
It's not. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
It's not that they did the DLC. It is not about the expansion. It is the way that they did it. The optics just look bad, and for me, that's what pisses me off. Because
it's like when LeBron left Cleveland for the first time.
Because if he would have just left normally, you guys would have been fine. You guys would have been fine. But the amount of BS that he did to get out of Cleveland was let so many people get pissed off. And that's a great analogy because it is not, it's like the same thing with Kevin Durant left Oklahoma. It's like you left Oklahoma for the guys who beat you. as opposed to
73-9 team.
So that's the issue.
Bag.
So that's the issue. It's not that you left for a better job. It's that you left for the guy who completely beat your crap, and then you joined them. So it's optics.
I don't know. Like I said, Nintendo gets away with this stuff though, and they know they can get away with it because we're all gonna buy it. That's
exactly.
And they fucking know it.
I'm not buying it.
What's the retail price of Breath of the Wild right now?
$60.
Yeah.
$60. Yep. And how old is that game now? 3 years old?
It'll be 3 years in about a month and a half.
Brother, Legend of Zelda, the princess, the one for the Wii, for the GameCube.
Wii U.
Twilight Princess?
Twilight Princess is still being sold for $39.99. Yeah, that is a decade-old game, and Nintendo still sells that for like $39.99.
Excuse me, on Best Buy's website right now, Breath of the Wild is $50.
Oh, nice. It's on sale though, right?
It's on sale.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's still. It's just, and they get away with it though. I don't even really blame Nintendo here because they know that we're gonna fucking buy it.
Yeah, for the record, I have no problem with any of this. I'm proud of Pokemon because they're always so far behind in everything. Think of how long it took them to get like 3D models in a game or like actually make a console game. This is the first Pokemon console game. This is a 20-year-old fucking franchise of video games. They just made a console game.
Good for them. We've been having season passes for the past decade, and they finally got a season pass. Jesus Christ!
No, I played it yet. I need to buy your copy off you still.
It's damn good, dude. Like I actually, while we're on this topic, I don't want anyone to think that I'm trashing the game because Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Oh, you are.
If you haven't played them yet, play through it because it was one of my favorite Pokemon games released, and even with all the cut content, maybe they didn't have the means, or maybe it wouldn't fit on the cart, or whatever. I just think the whole way they went about it was shady as fuck.
We all could have predicted this the second they didn't add every single Pokemon to one cart, which would be a lot to do. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm not mad that they didn't have all the games. But you have to pay for it.
Gyms and stuff to a Pokemon game. Like this is revolutionary.
Revolutionary? Oh, I'll give you an example. Have you put the Galarian versions of Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres as a hidden quest at the end of the game? That basically, but you couldn't catch them. Okay, you can only like do the quest and like see some like silhouette behind them, or do something that makes you get like, what is that? Like the mystery behind Pokemon. And they would have said, hey, listen, this will only come after the DLC comes out. I would have been okay with that because it gets you hyped up for the DLC. But what do we get? Barely 9/6 end game. Okay.
I corrupted my game just to get Missing Go, so.
Okay.
Hey, man.
I remember how to do that. Fucking duplicate items.
Oh, God, Lord almighty.
Ruining all the time you put into the game to get Missing Go, but.
And then you create a file like that.
But yeah, like just to reiterate though, we're not against DLC. I'm not against even a Pokemon game putting out DLC. I'm against the way they did it and the way they've been doing this for years. They've basically been selling us DLC since Pokemon started, releasing fucking 3 different versions sometimes, mostly 2, but sometimes 3. They've been doing this forever. I mean,
I feel like
you're locked behind a paywall anyway.
I feel like the old version of me. Like if you would have told me this, and this is the thing that I'm gonna say about, because we can start getting to the topic at hand with the delays. It's that for me, had this happened when I was 20 years old, I would have been, man, that's right, man, we're getting a DLC for Pokemon, perfect, beautiful. I don't know what DLC is, but you know, I'm gonna enjoy it because 20-year-old Marlon didn't know what fucking DLC was at that point. But the cynic in me is so burned out by the lack of communication between the developers and the fans, the lack of foresight when it comes to like, listen, you know this was going to happen, why didn't you plan better? Getting burned by games that never achieve what they originally set out to be, and getting burned out by games that just had massive issues from the beginning, and still have, even after years of being worked on. So I'm just gonna say it like this: we have gotten into this whole topic or at least trending topic when it comes to video games, that if you give them enough time to fix the problems that they have, it's gonna get fixed. And honestly, in my perspective, that has barely happened in a very few times. More often than not, we give these developers, or we tell them, hey, listen, give us one more year for working out the kinks, and when the game comes out, it has even worse problems than the game originally had. And so when we're getting all these delays, for me, in one hand, that I'm like, okay, perfect, beautiful, they're gonna give more time, they're gonna be able to work on the problems. And then I'm like, what if that is not even enough time to fix all the problems, and the game comes out being absolute garbage? Case in point, Anthem. Case in point, Andromeda. Case in point, what is the other game that just came out? It was like Destiny 2. It had so many issues, and yet we basically beta tested the games for like the longest times, for months on end. So when I see Final Fantasy being delayed, when I see Dying Light being delayed, when I see Cyberpunk 2077 being delayed, when I see all these games, I'm like, the cynic in me is like, great. Something tells me that game is gonna has some massive issues when it comes out. Like Fallout 2077. You love that game, Dalton, but you have to respect that game had some garbage. No, Fallout 76. Okay. But you had that game
it's the Cyberpunk Fallout mashup we didn't know we wanted.
Did you say I loved Fallout 76?
You enjoyed it. You had fun with it, didn't you?
I didn't. No. I played it for about 20 minutes.
I somewhat
for the
enjoyed
record. Since I'm playing the Nintendo fanboy, let me tell you my actual gripe with Nintendo, because I will stick up for most of the things that they do.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
The thing I do complain about, the fucking fighter pass on Smash, and them not actually giving us characters.
Don't even get me started on that, dude. Don't even get me started on that. I'm out. I'm
so sick of Fire Emblem players.
No. Okay, so Danny,
why can we not have Waluigi? Just give us Waluigi.
That's a big. They did actually have done another direct where they announced they announced the last of this fighter pass, and then they announced a second fighter pass. Am I right?
Yeah, something like that.
Here's a DLC for you. Pay us $30. Oh, and I have another DLC for you waiting behind you guys, and then have another DLC waiting behind that, and another DLC behind that. I'm like, you guys suck.
Well, in all fairness, since I've been playing Call of Duty here, people are paying $20 for skins on Call of Duty.
That's the problem. That's the problem that we have as gamers as a whole, man.
Yeah. At least we're actually getting shit in a fighter pass. Like, every fighting game does that. Mortal Kombat does that, but at least they give us Joker and like shit that we want, even if it's just recycled shit from Mortal Kombat versus DC. At least they're giving us new shit.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because that was another thing that I said in that tweet is, why wouldn't they do this kind of stuff? Why would they not? Like, why would they not think they can get away with this shit? Because we are the ones that keep buying the shit. Whether it be a $20 skin or a DLC pack that we disagree with, or an extra game or whatever. We keep buying it. So they're like, fuck it. Idiots are going to keep buying our shit.
Right. Like, there are people out there that will buy, every piece of freaking DLC for every, for the game that they love, which,
they're printing their own money at this point.
I mean, I'll be there are people out there that are not like us, that do not play or try to play every game that comes out. They'll get maybe one or two games a year and only play that game. So like an extra $30 for somebody that only plays Pokemon for 6 months makes a lot of sense to them.
Yeah, and I completely understand that. Like when like Call of Duty, for example, there's some people that only buy Call of Duty every year.
Or so only buy NBA,
why would they not buy the Ultimate Edition? Spend that little extra money, buy the Ultimate Edition, buy the battle passes, whatever you want to do, because that's your game.
Spend $20 on a skin because you're not going to be spending that $20 on any other video games for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you're not going to be staring at that character either because it's in first person. But spend $20.
Hey, you do you.
That's pretty much all I've been playing for the past 2 months, and I haven't bought the battle pass yet. I'm at level 70 on the battle pass, and I haven't even bought it. I've just got the free shit. I got the new free guns because that's what I wanted.
There you go. I'm actually installing it right now. I had to delete it to make room for some stuff, but I have some stuff.
Big surprise there. You mean
I'll give you an example.
Biggest game install ever.
Gigabytes? Yeah.
I'll give you an example. So a couple of months back, when the new season dropped for Destiny, I said, you know what? I was playing, I want to say maybe 15-20 minutes, and I said, you know what? I have some leftover silver. Let me buy the season pass for this season. Played it one day. One fucking day. Then I got caught up with work. I got caught up with stuff with the holiday season and stuff like that.
And Monster Hunter World.
And I have not played that game since December the 15th.
Wow.
So I bought it. Didn't use it. Season is over. Okay. So if I want to go through the roadmap and go through the season again, I have to go pay another $10 for it. We keep doing this to ourselves, and I think that's the main concern.
We're all to blame here. We're all to blame for these
every
practices.
gamer that keeps letting these companies take hold of our wallets and basically rape us with it.
Meanwhile, though, in the world of free shit, how great is Super Nintendo Online on Switch?
I have not seen it yet.
I have not seen it.
It's a whole app. You have to download it. If you have the classic, it doesn't just automatically update. You have to get the Super Nintendo Online and install it.
Right, you need a subscription, right? A Nintendo subscription for what, $20 a year, and then you get the. So last time I was on there, they only had the regular Nintendo. They didn't have Super Nintendo, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. I hope they bring GameCube. That's the one I'm waiting on. Is GameCube.
Playing freaking Mario Kart and Super Nintendo World and the old Zeldas. It's great.
But that's the thing, though. But that's the thing, though.
Zelda, and you get to just save wherever, and that's so clutch.
That's so new. That's
awesome. I could just pick it up and play for 5 minutes, and then just freaking. Oh, I love it.
But I'm okay with when they do stuff like that because it appreciates what the gamers want. What I don't like is when they say, listen, you want to, like they did with the freaking Wii U and stuff like that. You want to play all these freaking old console games from Nintendo. Got to pay us $5-10. I'm like, wait, what? No. Why? I already bought this game for the Wii. Why do I have to buy this game again for the Wii U? Why do I have to buy this game again for the fucking Switch?
Well, Sony did the same thing on the PS3 when they took away backwards compatibility, but you could buy them. You could buy PS1 classics and shit.
No, you can buy some PS1 classics.
It was a dark time.
Yeah, PS3 could play PS1 games, so that was pretty cool, but you couldn't play PS2 games.
Right, real quick too with in regards to that, I was just listening to a podcast earlier, and they were saying one of the big things they said was think about the number of releases this generation that were literally upgraded versions of previous generations.
Mm-hmm.
How many new IPs did we really get?
Right. And that all started last generation too. I don't want to say for sure it started last generation, but a lot of those remasters I know started on, started getting a lot of those big HD remasters on PS3.
Yeah.
Remember when they did the Prince of Persia remaster? They remastered the trilogy for PS3.
Yeah, the trilogy. They did Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper.
Never brought them to PS4 though, fuck that.
Yeah, right?
God, I played a lot of those remasters.
So did I, because I'm fucking nostalgia for it. And I'm like, an old game. Let me spend more money on it.
I mean, Hollywood not to mention, we're going to blame Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood started it with just not revamp. They just revamped franchises and started getting new stuff. This is all Hollywood's fault.
The fact that we got a Charlie's Angels reboot in 2019,
Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in 2005.
God, that movie was terrible.
I like it better than the original.
Really? Holy shit!
Shoot me. I don't fucking care.
No, you're entitled to your opinion. I've generally
You're wrong.
never have heard.
You're wrong. That's what you are.
No. He can. I mean, it's not. it's not that I disagree with him. I just
Johnny Depp's
don't
one of the best actors of our lifetime.
I'm Team Dalton on that one.
Yeah. I mean, you're not. Yeah, Johnny Depp's amazing. You're not wrong there.
But yeah, so
anyway,
let's talk about Willy Wonka for a minute.
Let's talk about Willy Wonka and his chocolate factory, huh?
Wrapping up the Nintendo Direct. I mean, there was a lot of animosity from the fan base. Like
Give
it was either like
characters we want, damn it.
Yeah.
Right. It was like a double whammy because not more than like a couple weeks later than they did the stuff for Smash Brothers and pissed everybody off again.
I just want to say though, real quick before we jump off of this topic,
sure.
All you people that were bitching about this shit on the internet or whatever, you're all gonna be there day one to get it. So shut the fuck up.
I'm actually not getting it, but that's also
not
because
you. I'm just saying, like these people that I see like bitching and complaining on the internet as soon as they announce it, they're all gonna line up and buy the shit. Like the season pass stuff, they're gonna buy it. Like they don't have to line up now because it's online. But you guys know what the fuck I'm saying. They'll be lined up outside of Best Buy with their Switches.
Queue it up.
Yeah, fuckers. But
pre-download.
My God, how
shit.
awesome would that be if midnight releases were still like a big thing, but you had your Switch with you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a missed opportunity.
I need to find a fucking game that launches at midnight and just go with my Switch. Just
most game companies,
be the only
most
person
game
out there
stores,
your lawn chair.
Yeah, I know.
Most people
I
don't
need
know
to find your Switch first, though.
I got a Switch Lite, so
Surprised
most
you
people
Oh,
don't.
yeah, that's right. You did forget. Do you ever find your old Switch?
I actually did lose the Switch Lite for a couple weeks, so I found it again.
Oh my God, Dalton.
Okay.
But no,
you and
moving
Nintendo
on.
have an issue, man.
Yeah.
Moving
Keep losing them.
on, Jeff, what's our next thing? What are we going into
So
next?
real quick, we'll touch on it because our biggest topic
touch
we have
on
yet
it.
to really
Touching
get
on it.
to. Touching on it like a touchpad, from the PlayStation because Sony's skipping E3 again.
No surprise.
That was my segue.
I know a lot of people thought they were going to attend with the PS5 reveal, but I honestly am not at all
don't
surprised.
need to.
And I damn sure don't think E3 is dead either. A lot of people are so fucking dramatic.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, Sony's not going again this year. E3's toast." Like, we're screwed.
Last year's E3 was excellent without Sony.
And honestly, I think Sony doesn't need to. They are clearly currently the market leader. I mean, Xbox is doing a very good job in trying to circumvent that right now with, coming out and announcing the name of their console in the box at the Game Awards. And then, now that they are going to be the only ones at E3, in terms of those big two publishers or the big two manufacturers, like the floor is theirs. And I honestly think they're gonna Sony's gonna wait till after E3 to announce the details of their console.
They're either gonna do it right after, or they're gonna go right before and steal thunder from E3.
Yeah, do like a state of play, all about the PS5. Like
do it like during Microsoft's presser, so like nobody tunes into E3. No, obviously that's a joke. They would not. They would not do that. But that'd be funny. It'd be kind of like their video of how to share games on PS4 from back in E3 2013.
That was great.
But yeah, so yeah, Sony skipping E3 for the second year in a row.
It's not surprising. It's not it like other than a few certain things. It's not where the eyes are anymore. People there doesn't have to be a giant trade show to do all these announcements. Yes, it's nice that everything's kind of in one place, but a lot of things got lost in the shuffle with E3. It's one of those things where these companies, especially with how they're doing, where they're trying to be all inclusive, possibly, porting their games to not just the PlayStation and stuff like that. Like Sony can do their own event and be completely fine. It's not going to lose them.
Experience. People fucking tuned into that in spades.
Right,
and now they've taken Nintendo's idea with the Direct. And what is it called? State of Play. Yeah.
I mean, even Microsoft has something where they do like the Inside Xbox and stuff like that. So I mean, all three companies honestly could just do those internet shows and be completely and save a lot on marketing budget because everybody's still going to tune in. All the gaming outlets are still going to cover them. It's just not, not going to be the giant, festival of gaming like E3 is. But I mean, I agree with you, Dalton. I don't feel that E3 is dead at all.
No.
But
E3 is going to be fine.
I do feel it has, taken a few steps backward, but I don't think it's dead by any means.
Maybe last year with the unexpected announcement or whatever, but now they've had time to prepare, and I'm sure this year's E3 is going to be a fucking banger.
I'll tell you this. Yeah. For me, I understand why Sony just doesn't want to do E3 anymore. Just like Nintendo, the money is not there. We're talking about spending millions of dollars to get people to California to a stage show to basically present a video games or present a show that just says, hey, listen, this is what we're going to be doing for the next year and a half, while having no control of how the event is planned out, while having no control of how many people are going to be in there, or having no control of the PR that may or may not happen, or may have no control of if the things are going to be presenting in a correct way. We've seen time and time again where, due to technical difficulties, some things, the demos just don't play out the way that they want them to play out. By Sony just saying, hey, listen, we're just going to do it fucking online. They have full control of what they can show, what they cannot show. And they don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars on a show that to them just feels like they're sharing the spotlight with all the other stuff, like Microsoft, like Bethesda, like BioWare, with all these developers. They can just, hey, listen, we can just make our own show and we can just basically present everything that is Sony and that is PlayStation, and we don't have to spend all this money competing against all this rival stuff for spotlight, for look at us. Like, no, they can just, hey, listen, just this is our stuff, and that's the reason why you see a lot of the PSX and PAX things happening, because they feel like that's better bang for their buck for them,
and that's where the audiences are going to be more
exactly. So do I feel like E3 has lost its relevance as opposed to like back in the 90s, like when they first came out?
90s and mid 2000s, like
I feel
Xbox 360 era.
Yeah, I feel like the peak of E3 was between 2007 and 2014. Those 7 years were basically like the peak era for them, where they had the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4. I don't think it has lost all this relevance, because you still have all these developers that want to show their video games, like indie titles and developers like Bethesda or
I mean, Microsoft themselves, they have a theater named after them now. They're down in LA, and that's where they have all their yes, it's nice for them because they have kind of the spotlight.
The home advantage is basically what they have.
Exactly.
So basically, for me, I feel like what's going to happen with E3 is that more and more you're going to be seeing these companies just pull out from E3, and it's going to be a Microsoft-only event. I feel like in the future, it's going to be Microsoft doing their big event in E3, and just basically that's going to be their Shangri-La for them when it comes to video game announcements. I could be wrong.
We could speculate on that all day, but I think as of right now, E3 is still in good shape. I think they're going to be just fine.
Absolutely.
A lot of video game news will still be coming through E3. So
yes. And speaking of giant video game news, that brings us to our topic of the week. What the fuck is up with these delays, guys?
Yeah, they all happened within like a week and a half, right? Like. And all the big name titles, all of them are delayed.
Yeah.
Like
pretty much every major title, other than there's like 3 or 4 that are still not, but the large majority of big name titles were delayed.
You gotta think real quick. Starting off though, the first one to start this was The Last of Us 2, and that was back in what, December? No, it might have even been earlier than that.
It was November, I think.
Yeah, it was delayed shortly after they announced the release date.
Yeah, it was exactly. It was like less than a month after they announced it, they delayed it.
Yeah, so Last of Us 2 got pushed back to May, but recently, obviously more recently, what started it was that Final Fantasy VII remake being delayed only about a month. So that's all right.
So Square Enix came out and basically said that a couple of their big titles needed a little bit more time in the oven, so to speak, for some extra polish. One a bigger push than another. But so the first one, obviously, like Dalton said, is Final Fantasy VII Remake got pushed back from its initial release date of March 3rd to April 10th. So like 5 weeks. Yeah. Not that big of a deal. You know, I think Marlon, didn't you say in the Discord, like, I waited 20 years for this game. I think I can wait another 5 weeks.
Yeah. I said that, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm okay with Final Fantasy VII being delayed. But
yeah,
but the thing for me is that it wasn't. The cynic in me is coming out, and I feel like that game is gonna come out, and I hope that's the best thing that's happened since sliced bread. But for me, I feel like something is gonna happen in that game that it's just gonna get me more mad, and I don't want that. I honestly don't want that. I want that game to succeed. I want that game to be perfect. Given that it's already have a very rough and very long development time.
Yeah, I still have my message on Twitter from Marlon sending me a message when they announced it back at E3 2015. So like they announced the Final Fantasy VII Remake at E3 2015, and Marlon sent me the message as soon as it happened. And back then we thought, man, we're gonna get this within a year or two. This game will be out in 1997. In 2017. 2017, just 20 years after. I thought we all thought 2017 was when this game was going to hit. Like,
I mean, it made sense. Like 20
year
exactly.
Anniversary. Yeah. And now here it is, even almost 3 years past that, and almost 5 years since the initial announcement. And we're only getting part of the game, by the way. Like, just so no one forgot. We're not getting this is episode 1 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we're just getting Midgar for crying out loud.
You want to talk about Nintendo?
Yeah,
right.
We are. I will definitely be the first one to go in on some Square Enix. Like they're one of my favorite developers of all time.
A whole episode.
But they pissed me off more than anyone else. So, like I've been tempted to not give them my money, but I do every fucking time, and I'm going to here too. So. I guess take it from me, Square. I don't know what else to do.
So the other big. Go ahead, Marlon.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna say like this guy's already took $300 out of my fucking pocket, man, with that stupid collector's edition. So I'm in it for the long run. So the thing for me is that. You hear that? That's my thought saying I fucking hate Square Enix because it keeps ruining my holiday seasons every single time.
It took them like 10 years to release Final Fantasy 15 for Christ's sakes. So
speaking of Square Enix pushing shit back, their other big delay the same day because it was like an earnings. I think it was like an earnings call or it was some type of thing Square Enix, some type of thing that they posted. Either way,
I don't think it was a quarterly earnings. I think.
The Marvel's Avengers game, which they just announced last year at E3.
They pushed back all the marbles.
All the marbles. The Avengers game that people were really iffy on, honestly, around E3. I know you and Goose, Dalton, you weren't too super thrilled with it.
I'm still not. I completely forgot it was even a Square Enix game, to be honest with you.
Right. Well, it's Crystal Dynamics. It's the same team that.
But it's being published by Square.
But it's published by Square because they own it. But that got pushed from its May release date all the way to September 4th to be specific, which that's a pretty substantial delay. They said mostly it was just they needed extra time and time to polish it and make it the quote best game that they can. But I feel it's one of those things where they were out 2 weeks prior to Last of Us 2, and they didn't get a good reception at E3. People, it wasn't just the two of you that weren't really super high in that game. A lot of people were kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. So I
think if it had been Insomniac, it would have been way more.
People would have been a lot more, not as much maybe anticipated, but people would have been a lot more confident in their ability to make it something.
Especially after Spider-Man, yeah.
Especially after Spider-Man. But yeah, it's interesting to see that game get that big of a push, and I'll kind of sum up my thoughts with all of these delays here after we're done going through them. So the other big one, which Dalton, honestly, it is the biggest one on this list. Cyberpunk 2077. Literally, I know it's my personal most anticipated game for the year.
Me too. And that includes The Last of Us 2.
And that includes The Last of Us 2, exactly. That's Last of Us 2 is my second most anticipated game.
Absolutely.
Of the year. But Cyberpunk 2077, initially
April 16th, right?
Yes, April 16th. So literally less than 3 months from now. Got pushed back to September 17th.
A whopping 5 months again.
Yep. And I mean, it's a huge one. I understand. This is like CD Projekt Red's most ambitious game ever, and this is also the same studio that brought us The Witcher 3, which is probably one of the biggest games to date.
It's one of the best, for sure. I that's why I'm so excited for it, because I played The Witcher 3 and I fucking loved it, and I know they're gonna do this justice. You're gonna be able to do so much shit in this game. I can't even describe how excited I am for it, but I'm super happy it got pushed back. I was actually kind of hoping it would get a November release date, like a holiday 2020, and launch similar times to the PS5 and Xbox. Mm-hmm. That would have been cool for me, and then I could actually play it when everyone else was playing it. But now I'm going to be behind you guys.
Well, honestly, that kind of brings me to my point. As much as excited as I am for that game, September, I feel, is going to be dangerously close to the new console launches. And at this point, I feel like I might want to just wait and buy it with my new console.
That's what I've seen a lot of people saying too. Yeah, Marlon, go ahead.
No, that's the thing, and I'll give it to Dalton. People are going to be doing that. I mean, there's no point. There's no point.
A lot of people.
There's no point.
I agree with you. There is a point. So I don't technically agree with you, I guess, but
no, it's not.
I agree that people are going to be doing that, because someone commented on one of our posts the other day, and they made a very good point. Because I brought it up to them, well, the game's going to be backwards compatible, so when you buy the game at launch,
my buddy Dave. Hi, Dave.
Yeah, you can play it on your current system and then play it on the new one when it comes out. But he was like, well, no, what if I want to play it on the more powerful system right from the beginning and get that experience? I'm like, that's a good point. And I was like, I'm playing it on PC, so I don't have that problem. But no, I completely understand where he's coming from. At that point, I didn't even think about that. You know what I mean? That thought never even occurred to me. So yeah, there's gonna be people waiting. So it might fuck up the sales numbers a little bit. But then you got to remember, a lot of these people, they're going to be all talk when it comes to this stuff, because the hype around this game, they're going to see that game sitting on store shelves or whatever, or in their Xbox store or PlayStation store or however they buy it.
And I know
they're going to be like, oh man, I'm not going to fucking wait. This game is right here in front of me. I'm like, because I know that, because I'm like that. I was going to wait on that DBZ game, and I fucking didn't at all. I didn't. I pre-ordered it the day before it came out, and ended up getting to play it that day. So I was like, sweet. You know what I mean? So I know exactly how those people.
That's the thing.
The biggest thing that would deter me,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. All I was gonna say is I'm potentially buying a house this year, so
you're pre-ordering the house?
I may legitimately wait, but not for lack of wanting to play it, but for lack of funds.
Question.
I'm buying a house next year, so I'm good.
Question, guys, for both of you guys who are buying the houses next year or this year, or depending on when you do buy it, are you gonna pre-order it and wait for the DLC to come out later on, or what?
My house. Get this
are you gonna wait until all the wheels and bizzles are come out?
I'll be getting the bathroom the following year. Everything else I should be able to afford during the first year.
Perfect, beautiful. That's although you should be getting the DLC bathroom first. Okay, you know that's the first thing you really need to have, a toilet in the bathroom. Okay,
your gold plated toilet for your DLC bathroom.
No, I'll just use my car door. But moving on, there's 2 more games that got delayed, and they didn't get a release date, did they?
Iron Man VR did. Iron Man VR got pushed back to May from its initial February release date, which I know you said in the thing it's not a huge title, and I do agree with you, but like there are a lot of people looking forward to it that do have a VR.
Yeah, I think I counted about 4 total, so that's quite a few people that are upset.
Yeah,
do any of us have
those 4 people?
VR?
I do not.
I did have a PSVR for a while, but there's too much shit to hook up with it. That's what bothers me.
I think I only want VR for Beat Saber, to be honest.
Yeah,
and it's kind of not worth it to spend that amount of money for one game.
Yeah,
especially like a $15 game.
Yeah, especially like a gimmick game that you're gonna play sometimes, or when you have like people over or something.
Right.
Unless you're a complete weirdo and that's what you game. That's like your game. You come home from work and you're fucking 6 hours on that shit, and then you go to bed.
You theoretically could be people like that.
It's like Guitar Hero, kind of. That's what it reminds me of.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very much like that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's good for parties and stuff, but it's
I
don't know. Playing by yourself, it just doesn't seem like it'd be. I don't know. What the fuck do I know? I'm almost 30 years old. I don't know.
Yeah, you're just old and
He's an old soul, brother. You're an old soul, brother.
I am too, man. I'm such a fucking hater anymore. It's hitting me so hard. It really is, man.
Real quick, the last delay, which I was actually pretty bummed about. I kind of saw it coming though, because they said that it was supposed to be a spring release date back at E3, and they hadn't said jack shit about a specified time or even a date, and hadn't said much of anything since about it. But Dying Light 2 got delayed to an undefined time frame. Like originally it was spring 2020, and then now they're like, yeah, it's delayed.
It just canceled. They canceled it.
That's it. Dude, that would suck. I'd actually be pretty disappointed.
I didn't play the first one, but I know a lot of people that did, and they loved it.
I know Gustavo would be super disappointed too.
I think he'd be disappointed in most of the stuff that's happening with the. Actually, no. I don't think Gustavo will be disappointed. I feel like he probably would just see it as a blessing, given the fact that his backlog is immense right now. So
I don't think he's ever going to get to his backlog. To be perfectly honest.
Brother.
I think he even said that in a tweet I read. I remember reading. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to get to my backlog ever, and I'm completely okay with it.
Dude, my backlog is small, but it doesn't even get to that point where it's like, oh, I have 100 games that I have to go through. I guess I'll just get to them when I die.
Honestly, my backlog was never even big either until I got a PC. And now my Steam library is starting to fill up, and there's a lot of shit because Steam sales are a fucking crazy thing.
They really are. I've heard very big story. I've heard stories.
Yeah, I've got a lot of games now that I just buy because I'm like, oh shit, $4. I never played that game.
And that's
so now I own it, and I need to play it, and I want to play it because it's games like I got the BioShock collection for like $8, I think, all 3 games, and I'm like, okay, I need to play these.
Vice City for like $2 on Steam sale.
Yeah,
one summer, and I was
isn't that awesome?
Yep, doing this.
Absolutely, I got them all too.
Played all the BioShock games recently. Well, 1 and Infinite, the 2 good ones. But
so delays, man, delays everywhere.
Delays.
I mean, that's why they're gonna get their shit right. Then that's fine.
That's why I give Nintendo. They don't delay shit ever.
Don't pull this Bethesda shit and just force the game.
Nintendo doesn't delay shit. Nintendo just gives an announcement. Say, hey, listen, we're working on this title. It's gonna come out when it comes out.
That's what I love about Nintendo, though. That is one thing. They're spot on. They hit their release windows, and that's the thing that these developers need to do. They need to set realistic release windows, and quit trying to maybe they're not trying to, but it feels like they're trying to appease the fans with these release dates.
At the end of the day, I think I completely agree with you. It's they're trying to make they can't find that balance of making the fans happy and being realistic about the time frame it takes them to finish the game and make it up to the par that people want it to be.
Right. At this point, delays used to be a thing that bothered a lot of people, But now we've seen, like Danny just said, the release of these games, they come out and they're fucking trash. They're garbage. They take like 50 patches to fix. It's like, we don't want that either. So at this point, we're all just like, just fucking delay it. Yeah, just fucking delay it. I don't want to spend 3 hours updating my game every fucking time I get on. Like, just release the shit right so we could play the shit. Like, don't release this fucking garbage that's unplayable. Like, but at the same time, set a realistic release date. No one's going to be pissed. If you announce, like, hey, we're announcing this game now, but it's not coming out for another 1.5 years, 2 years, whatever. But here it is. Here's a realistic release window. You know what I mean? Or do away with, like, release dates as a whole until the game, like, maybe goes gold, right? Say, like, hey, here's our release window. It's going to release, like a lot of games do, like, spring 2020. You know what I mean?
What if they just start doing them like Eminem does rap albums? They're just like, surprise, it's here.
Like Apex Legends.
See, I fucking love when developers do that. One of my favorite parts of E3, so going back to the E3 topic, is
by the way, it's playable right now.
Exactly. By the way, it's available right now. Like, is the coolest shit. Like, Microsoft even did that with Game Pass stuff this year, where they're like,
do that with like major titles though. I've seen them do it with like DLC and stuff, but never like a major title release.
Somebody needs to do that.
I agree.
Microsoft should just be like, oh, by the way, the new Halo is available right now.
Dude, that would,
like, don't even fucking say anything.
They would break the internet.
Oh, absolutely. They break their own servers.
What if they were like
everything?
What if for E3 they're like, the Xbox Series X is available right now?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm seriously expecting Sony to do something like that. I don't know why, but I feel like they're gonna have something up their sleeve. They're gonna be like,
oh, by the way, PS5 ship next week.
Yeah, something crazy like that. I feel like they're gonna say something in June and be like, hey, guess what? Guess what happens next month? Fucking things coming out. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like they're gonna do something like that. They may not.
Next month, new things are coming out. The next month passes by. What's the new things? Hey, new logo. Like, okay. Anything else? No, that's it. It's like, just take all of our hopes and dreams and just dash them like that, man.
That's how they're throwing you off the scent.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, a lot of big things have happened. We kind of talked about it last episode. We're not going to be putting out weekly episodes anymore. So you're going to get a lot of episodes like this where we're going to cram a bunch of information into one. When we build up enough info, we're actually back a little earlier than I even planned to be.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of shit that's went down over the last, few weeks.
Mm-hmm. So, and I wasn't expecting all this shit to happen. So,
speaking of delays, and this will lead into our upcoming CODcast. The COD Season 1 getting extended because Season 2 wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But they made it up to everybody by just giving everybody double XP weekends, and they're like, here's some free shit and more time to play Battle Pass Season 1.
Yep.
Well, that's cool, though. Here's some more $20 skins.
CODcast is going to be so fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, we're going to
talk to you guys about zombies and multiplayer and campaigns. And
so what Danny is referring to is eventually here at some time in the near future, we're going to be doing a all Call of Duty podcast. Basically, we're going to talk about our favorite moments from different campaigns, our favorite games overall, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Send us your questions and comments.
Yeah. Send us your questions and comments to our Twitter.
And that's the thing too is. Yeah, I announced it on our Twitter too, like with Danny coming back. Kind of, he never really technically left, but like took a vacation.
I got fired. That was a thing.
Took a vacation.
Having a more prominent role.
Yeah, but now the guy who fired you walked out, so we're
so
Danny's back.
Reinstated.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things we're gonna focus on too, since we're not gonna be doing the show every week. Danny's coming back. He's gonna focus a lot on YouTube content. I know he's got some ideas for some videos and all that stuff. And with that being said, we are filming our first episode of Oldies and Coldies this weekend for the first time in 2 years. Has it been? It's been 2 years.
Fuck yes.
So it's been a long time. Yeah, we're gonna go drink beer together and film each other. So we get pretty wild. But so we're excited. I mean, I'm really excited to bring that back. I've been wanting to for a couple of years now, and we finally have the equipment. I got the capture cards, the the HDMI converters for older consoles. I have all that shit, so we're good to go. Super pumped about it. So I just wanted to say that on air. We announced it on Twitter as well, but this is the real deal now. We're doing it this Saturday, so
yep.
Be on the lookout.
Once it's edited, we'll set a release date or whatever. And
right side, since everybody's already subscribed to our YouTube, it'll go right to them.
Yeah, you'll get to no money, free,
direct feed.
So a lot of different things happening. We're gonna do AEG our way. Like we're not gonna
no DLC included.
Right, you're not gonna have to pay for DLC. So there's going to be some big fucking changes this year at AEG. We announced it in our previous episode, but AEG is back to us now. So we're
Thank you for sticking with us too, by the way.
Absolutely.
You can say it, but hey, man, we just gotta enjoy this, man.
Exactly. And I haven't got to talk to you guys a whole lot. Marlon's been busy with work. Like really busy with work. He's actually been super quiet in Discord, which you can ask Marlon. I've actually messaged him a few times, just checking up on him, making sure he's okay.
Right.
Like out of the blue.
No, man. I just been up to my fucking eyebrows with work, and I'm okay with that. It's just
yeah, absolutely.
It's just that I'm looking back at some of this. Like I remember when Jeff, you were complaining about not having enough time to be able to go back and read some of the messages in Discord. That is literally me right now. I'm like, it has like 65 more messages.
Yeah, so like I can
It's funny because the Discord's not nearly as active as it was. So even like you're even having trouble keeping up with it right now, and we're not even as talkative. Like we just talk about what needs to be talked about and bullshit every once in a while. So
right.
But
yeah, like I can check my phone at work fairly easily, but at the same time, like there'll be times where like you guys will have had a full on conversation of like 30 to 40 messages, and I was like, oh shit, what did I miss?
Yeah, and I know Jeff he's got plans on bringing the grind back, which is not a gay porn. So those of our listeners that are into that, I know it's a big
sorry.
I mean, it might get more views that way.
Absolutely, I'd probably watch it. I don't even watch it.
I'm open to ideas. I mean,
yeah, for sure. So we'll see
if it'll get the clicks.
I don't know if you've seen us. I don't know if you've seen us.
I'm all about the clickbait.
Yeah, there you go. Like our episode title, "Nude Selfies," has got the most listens on it out of any other episode because it's titled "Nude Selfies," and people probably clicked it thinking. And then they got this shitty episode, like earlier episode of ours, that was pretty bad. But
honestly, it was one of my favorite episodes I think that we've ever done.
I gotta go back and listen to it. I just know our older episodes suck dick. But
it wasn't that bad.
Like a fine wine, we age well.
I don't think so. No. I think that's like a putrid wine that just basically went stale a long time.
Fuck it.
Yeah, a lot of great
what
things
the hell
coming
do I
AEG's
know?
way, especially with like Danny, like I said, coming back into it, being more involved and all that shit. So we got a lot of big plans for 2020 again. And I can't wait.
Thank you guys. Like Dalton said, thank you guys for sticking with us and
absolutely.
Going on this journey. Like we want to make it more fun, and we hope tonight's episode was that for you guys.
Yeah, and before we make
thanks for sitting through like a 2-hour episode.
Yeah, less than that. It was only about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
not too bad.
And before we can make it more fun for the listeners, we got to make it more fun for us, for sure.
Damn right.
Yeah, but that's all I have to say this week.
All right. Anybody else?
That's all, folks.
Good to be
all
back.
right. Well,
thank you guys.
In the making.
Yes. Thank you for being back, Danny. We appreciate it. Or Colt or whatever the hell I'm
40.
call you. I don't know.
Brought to you by
Colt 40.
Lights.
Nobody calls each other by their gamer names.
Nobody. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't mind to call me by my gaming name, that's for sure, man.
No, White Sun. We wouldn't want to do that.
God, Lord Almighty, I'm such an idiot with that game. With that name tag.
It's cool, dude. Mine was Scorched Angel. I don't want to hear shit.
Yeah, that's worse.
Yeah,
exactly. It's 100%.
Mine was
worse.
just my first and last name, forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're very.
I mean,
at
least now
original.
Mine is good across the board.
It's really hard to call you DG3 in regular conversation.
Well, yeah, it doesn't flow very well. Plus,
hey,
you guys.
DG3.
Plus, we've known each other for so long now that it's like.
Right, like.
That's why I keep calling you Danny, because that's what I know you as.
Right, so. Like, and technically I'm JB, but you guys all call me Jeff anyway, so it's like.
Fuck it. Yeah, that's the end of the show, everyone.
Yes,
so
yes.
Can stop
Thank you guys for listening.
Anytime.
No, I'm just letting that thing roll. This is gonna be great when it comes to the bloopers later on.
Easter egg.
Yep.
In any case,
feel free to follow us, and thank you guys for listening. And until next time, we will see you here on the AEG Show.